Yes, guys. Yes, people. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Chelsea Chat. Big up to every single one of you that's locked in. On your way in, you guys already know what to do, whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching on the playback. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and also, not just to me, the link to Andrew and to Guni's Twitters and YouTube channels are all down in the description below. Everybody give them some love. You know what we always say on the channel, a rising tide lifts all ships. So everybody hit the sub button on your way into the channel. But big up to every single one of you. Hope you guys enjoyed the weekend. It felt like a good weekend from a Chelsea perspective. Obviously, you got the 3 points. Tyreek George banging. Even Gallagher got his first goal for Atletico. Shout out to Gallagher. Like we've been telling you, don't hate the guy. I'm just glad he's gone and I'm glad he's shining over there. So more power to him and I hope he keeps cooking. But yeah, big up to everybody. Hit the like, subscribe, all of that shit. Let's get into the show. Shout out, Andrew. It's good to have you back on the channel, bro. Hope everything's good.
Yeah, all good, man. Like you said, it was we played on the weekend, we got 3 points, and no one really wants to talk about us. I quite like that, you know what I mean? We get the 3 points, we just carry on going down the road, you know what I mean? Liverpool lost, which was also great because apart from Spurs fans, that's the fan base I hate the most, you know what I mean? So it was all good. And then that boring North London derby yesterday, so it's all good. But we won, man. We won. Sancho balling. So let's talk about it.
Come on, big facts, man. Big facts. Shout out to Guni as well. Good to have you back on the channel too. Hope everything's good, my guy.
Yeah, everything's blessed, man. Thanks for having me back on. Big up everyone that's obviously in here. Thumbs up with the likes and all that. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. But yeah, man, I have to agree with Andrew. Like, there's nothing any of the rivals have got to say right now. We got our 3 points and we kept a clean sheet, regardless of how it turned up. Sometimes you just gotta take them 3 points and run. Do you know what I mean?
And do you know how much they're all so pissed that we ran away with those 3 points, and it's beautiful, bruv. I've been running the whole stuff of champions narrative and everything, because if that's a Man City or that's an Arsenal that has a bad game and they just grind out 3 points, they're praising them for grafting. They're praising them for keeping determined and staying resilient. With us, no, you got lucky. No. We didn't get lucky. What we did get was a decent amount of depth, which we've already seen in the summer, and we got another example of finally trying to flex it. And Kunku came off the bench. Sancho, obviously, we're going to touch on his cameo as well. Even Tosin had a pretty decent cameo. But Andrew, I want to start off with you because there's been a lot of talk about how we started the game, like the first half, and how slow we were, especially in trying to progress the ball and everything. Did you see at least a visible improvement in how we grew into the game, or do you think it's genuinely just a case of we put in the right individuals and they were able to get us the result?
Yeah, I mean, our bench won us the game. I've got to be honest with you. My whole problem with Saturday's performance was that Cole Palmer was supposed to be in the middle, but he spent most of the game on the right with Madueke, like holding hands essentially. And we couldn't progress the ball up. There's no one in the middle. It was just Jackson by himself. Do you know what I mean? So we couldn't progress the ball. We just passed it sideways and backwards. And well, I can talk about it later, but I think I'm finding an issue that I don't think Cole Palmer likes playing as a 10 in this side. I think he prefers playing on the right. I think he's always liked playing on the right and drifting in. I think he also creates more space for him, creates more space for people in the middle. But generally, overall, it was just a listen. Big up to Sanchez at the weekend. You're not going to hear that a lot from me, but Sanchez actually,
yes,
he saved that penalty and he had a good all-round game. I can't remember him making a mistake, so note that down as well. I can't remember him making a mistake at all. But he played very well. I would have given him the man of the match, to be honest with you, because he saved that penalty. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to get a lot of penalties.
For the whole 90 too.
Yeah, he was very good. But Sancho looked very good. And Kunku looked good when he came on. We'll just roll on from there. West Ham's going to be a bigger test. But I don't want Disasi at right back. Please, just never Disasi at right back again. Start prepping Achimpong or whatever. Just I can't have Disasi at right back. He doesn't have the instincts of a right back at all. He just does not. And
he looks lost, bro, especially in transition too. And I get he's not even built for that role, but It's like the third game in a row that we tried it, and you look uncomfortable in all of them, including 2 games against Savić. Like, that's got to be the end of this experiment.
And also, Fofana's passing on Saturday, Lord of mercy, Jesus. His passing on Saturday was absolutely, it was ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? So that's got to pan up as well. But, last year, I think we would have lost that game. Or even last year, our manager would have been cowardly and taken the point. He would have taken the point.
Yep.
So I commend Enzo for his substitutions. He does like to make them early. Sancho came on. But yeah, smash and grab. And I like it when the rivals. I had voice messages from Hassan all the way through that game on WhatsApp saying, are you enjoying this performance? Are you enjoying this João Felix performance?
You messaged you too.
Yeah, yeah, and then nothing after we scored. Nothing, no invite or anything like that. If we'd lost that game, he would have sent me an invite right away to the stream he was on. Just to
Bro, I promise you, the second we conceded the penalty, this brother was in the chat, and the second Sanchez saved it, he disappeared for 50 minutes.
No, but it was a good whether you want to call it smash and grab, I don't really care. It's 3 points or 3 points. We move, and let's just keep this going.
Sometimes you gotta have a little smash and grab. It at least shows we got a bit of resiliency and depth about us. Guni, what was your main takeouts from that game?
Looking at it objectively, yeah, we had a terrible first half. But I think what we also need to acknowledge is Bournemouth played fantastic football. They did.
Yeah, they're not a shitty side, are they? Guni? They're quite, That Iriola bloke is underrated. Very underrated.
Yeah.
They always make a lot of chances against us.
One thing I'll say, Bournemouth played excellent football. They were not clinical, but if they were more, relentless side who, were more cold-blooded in front of goal, then they could have been out of sight potentially by half time. So I do feel that we rode our luck. However, there's reasons for that. I mean, we didn't have a natural fullback on the pitch. And I felt that really, especially in the first half, it restricted us because it had us pinned back because, Colwill naturally doesn't like to go far up the pitch. I mean, we saw some of it in the second half, but, at first half, it was more revert to type. Colwill doesn't really like to pass the halfway line, as we know. And then on the other side, you got Disasi, who isn't quick enough to get up and down, even if he wanted to. You could see at times, my man was running in mud. And that's something that, it's not necessarily Disasi's fault. So I didn't really get onto that much. It's just that he had to just deputize for a position because we had nobody else that was fit there. Well, actually, arguably, apart from a Champong, the young kid should have been given a chance. Me personally, I felt that he should have. But yeah, second half, absolute game changer, man. Absolute game changer in terms of Jadon Sancho's substitution. Surprised me because I personally thought the shades of Jadon Sancho at Borussia Dortmund perhaps has been left behind and he's never going to reach that. But we saw glimpses of it, man. I just love how direct he is and his decision making as well. The decision making is what really sets him apart from the rest of our wingers. Do you know what I mean? At the club. So every single time the guy received the ball, he knew whether to isolate his man and beat him or whether to play it into another player or link up with another player. All the decisions that he made was correct. And it was really, really refreshing to see that, especially in the wing position, left wing position that we've been a bit shaky about over last season. Mudrik's not been good enough, Sterling very much up and down. So hopefully Sancho can continue how he played his debut game because I was very much impressed.
Yeah, I know it was only 45 minutes. So the last 3 days where I've been speaking about, I've really tried not to overdo it, but fucking hell, that was a really good cameo. And it's not even just like in terms of G&A or anything. It's more just decision making. It's more just your 1v1s. The weight of passing, I keep talking about every single pass he made was the right decision, the right way. And he can do it either from a long range or from a little short range as well. All I need is for him to continue.
Do you know what I'll say as well, lads? I feel like he's understood, obviously, like that's his task, but you can still see, like, it feels like Maresca's said to him, go and still play with freedom. Like, go back to the Jadon Sancho that played football like a street footballer. Just play how you play. We signed Jadon Sancho. We want to see that on the pitch. Don't fully just adapt and be rigid to what I'm doing like you did at Manchester United. Go out there and be expressive. Yes, respect the role that you have, but I'm giving you that leeway to express yourself. You just saw it. This man was making players, turning them inside out. Like, that freedom is what he needed. And if he can continue to get that, I think we're going to reap dividends from that, man. We're going to get rewards.
Plus, I know people have gone in the summer and Maresca likes touchline wingers. That's the difference between a touchline winger and a wide forward. Because you saw Cucurella right away. Remember at the start of the second half, Cucurella did the overlap and we had that chance where he crossed it into the box and it was just behind Jackson. That. He booted it into the box. And he was overlapping as well. So that's the difference. Touchline wingers, the fullback is not going to overlap as much because they're on the wide and he's going to try and underlap or whatever the term is or something like that. Yeah. But I don't think we could do that. And that's the difference. I thought, he's already got the Garnacho Sancho song that we pirated from Manchester United. I heard that at the weekend. So that song's all done and good. But yeah, he just looked. It was just a difference, right? It was a difference. I don't think we can play all the time with two touchline wingers like Madueke and
no, of course not. Yeah,
and Neto. I think we need to do a hybrid or something like that. But yeah, it's just the option. I mean, last year when we had a game like that, we were on the looking at the bench, going, I don't even know that guy's name. Do you know what I mean? Or who is that? Do you know what I mean? Yep. It was like like 7 NCPs who didn't know who's that. Oh my god, David Washington. Or David Washington was he's never getting on the pitch. So it's like, what's the point? But it's like you brought it on. Sancho came on. Okay, he did his part, but we didn't have. It wasn't really connecting well. Or Jackson was really muscled out with it the second half. You bring in Cuckoo on. You bring João Felix on. I don't think he's done much. João Felix, apart from getting booking and stuff like that.
Shocking, if we're being honest.
Yeah, that was his. There's
been 2 bad cameos.
If I go on about João Felix, I'll be here for 8 hours. So I'm not going to do this. So, but it's just options, right? That's what it is. That's what we have this year that we don't have last year. But it was just a big shout out for Vega and Caicedo as well, because they were left to do a lot of work in that midfield. Because, like I said, Palmer didn't play as a 10. He played as a second right winger. There was no one there in the middle. So it was literally Jackson, big gap, Caicedo, Vega by themselves. There was nothing there. And that's got to change. Someone has to be in the middle. But maybe even like a Sancho, I don't know. But it was just good. It was good vibes. That's what it was. Even though it was a shitty late game. So big up to your away fans as well. Because they earned that victory for having to go to Bournemouth at 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday in the rain. They earned that victory. They earned it.
They were loud as well. I could hear them through the TV.
Always. No Gallagher chants in the away fans. I tell you, that's not happening.
This is why they prefer the away games, innit? For some reason, it's always the home crowd that's the more toxic. Usually, it's meant to be the reverse.
Meant to be the reverse, yeah. But we got great away support, man. Definitely.
Yeah, big up to them at the very least, and at least we got an ending for them too.
Yeah.
In terms of the 10 position, like I understand it as well, and I agree too. We've seen it from last season. Palmer is much better on the right-hand side. In terms of like Noni and like to a point Jackson as well, because it's going to lead into that too. There's been a lot of criticism for the pair of them just based off that game, and I get it, they weren't good, but it's also just been that one game as well. And like Jackson, for me personally, was very good against Palace, very good against Wolves. Noni, I'd say the same for both games, except like after we conceded against Palace, he did struggle against a low block a little bit more. But how are we feeling about both of them? And is there an argument for us to start the next game without them, or do you want to see them play next game? Because I'm not ready to say that they both need to be dropped just yet. I think it's been a bit inconsistent at best, but that's about it.
Go ahead, Andrew, bro.
Well, I think. Let me clarify my thing. I think Palmer will work as a 10 if the game's like against Wolves, when it's just completely open. Do you know what I mean? When it's like that and he can do that. We've seen it now. City to Palace maybe in the second half. And this half, he just wasn't getting it. And I think he's our most talented player. So he has to be in the team. We have to play through him essentially and build around him. And I just think that Madueke didn't play well because Palmer was over there. Let's be real, right? Palmer was over that side, so Madueke was hardly getting the ball. I would have told Madueke to even just try and maybe add yourself as like a second striker or something up with Jackson on Saturday. I would have just done that. I always think with Madueke, if I was coaching Madueke, I don't care about how many assists you get. You're just my goal scoring winger this season. That's it. That's all you are. You're just my goal scoring winger. I just want you in a position to score. But I don't know. I think who we got next? West Ham, right?
Yeah, West Ham away.
We need someone in the middle. I'm sorry. We need someone in the middle to alleviate the pressure on whoever I assume Enzo will be back, even though I don't want him back. I'm assuming Enzo will be back in the middle with Caicedo and something like that. We need something. We need that. I'm not too sure if you're putting Cuckoo there, whether it works with Jackson or not. We haven't really seen it or anything like that. But Cuckoo deserves a start. You know, you come on and you scored a winner. He scored in both legs of the Conference League. He deserves more minutes. Maybe flip this around and maybe you start Sancho instead of Neto. I don't know. But you know what I like? Everyone goes, "Oh, Enzo Maresca's got a headache." No, it's not a headache. Yeah, it's not a headache. It's one of those. Or if it is a headache, it's one of those ones you tolerate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good headache.
You got so many.
Who do we have to play? Yeah. It's who
exactly.
Who are we playing them?
I think but I don't know. I think he'll still go with like Palmer in the middle, or whether he stays there or not is gonna be my issue. But
it'll probably depend on Enzo and Lavia's return because they were both back in training this morning with Gusto.
Yeah, and we've also got. I know. When I say this, obviously, we've got Barrow, and then we've got who we got?
Brighton.
Brighton
at home on the Saturday,
and then away in the. No.
Then we have Ghent at home in the Conference League, then Forest, and then the International.
It's a chance for him to really, really rotate the squad. I just hope one of the right backs is James won't be, but I hope Gusto's good to go at the weekend. That's probably even a more important position against West Ham than even anyone in the attack. But it's a bit of a toss up, really. It's Palmer plus two others. Yeah. I think Jackson will start again, though. I think Jackson will start. I think he will start most games.
Well, I don't want to see him get dropped just yet. Sorry, Guni.
No, well, I think when it comes to the Jackson question, it's like who else is? Well, actually, in Nkunku could. I forgot that he made the difference. If you know, I've been out of this for a while. That you can tell. But completely blew my point out of the window. But Nkunku for me, it's interesting. He deserves a start because listen, if we're having honest conversations, right? And I'm talking chat, don't get too carried away. I'm just talking about one specific aspect here. When it comes down strictly to finishing, well, actually two, finishing and positioning. In my opinion, Nkunku's better at both.
Agreed.
I think he's just more. I think he's got more of a natural instinct in front of goal. And listen, granted, regardless of how you feel about the Bundesliga, he's had a couple 20+ goal seasons, so he's shown that he's got a dead eye for goal. And I don't know about you, Andrew, but the dynamics that I was seeing between Sancho and Nkunku, I was impressed. You know what I mean? And I just it's sometimes if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. And I think he should try and see if they can build the momentum together, a partnership together, not just in Nkunku and Sancho. Because remember, we've got other technical attackers right behind them. Obviously, you've got your Cole Palmers, you've got your João Felixes on his day, and so on and so forth. But just going back to what you were saying about the whole Cole Palmer and playing central and him not wanting to play central. It's funny because he's had excellent games centrally as well. But I do agree with you, Lewis, that he's more naturally he's better off that right. Whether he's a natural right winger is another question, but I feel like he enjoys himself and he showed better play off that right. And really to overcome that issue, I think what you're going to have to do as manager is if Cole is going to just naturally navigate to that right side, you're going to have to start with a right winger who's not naturally a winger, who's a number 10. So when Cole has that habit of drifting out to that right-hand side, that number 10 already has the natural instinct to know what to do down that middle. Do you know what I mean? Because with certain players, you've got to give them leeway. And Cole Palmer's earned that leeway. Although he's being instructed to play central, if he's drifting out wide on the right, as a manager, you got to say, do you know what, Cole, you're getting on my nerves, but considering the form that you've shown over the past season, I'm going to allow you to do that. If it was another player, for example, who feels like a Mudryk, he'd get a bollocking. But that's because he hasn't earned that right to be able to just get that blight from the manager. So that's what I think needs to happen. So playing him with Madueke might be problematic, but you're going to have to get it through to Cole. Like, literally, listen, when Madueke's on the pitch, centrally, you're going to have to hold that because Madueke is a winger that likes to isolate off that right wing, cut in and use his left foot. So tactically, you're going to have to do it.
Yeah, even though it ends up being what we are now, which is we're usually a right side heavy team anyway. Even from last season, we were that sort of team.
But now if you got Sancho and even Neto who can play either wing as well, you got options. That's the whole point. Yeah. Remember that? What I can't remember what game it was. Remember we did that heat map of one of our games last season, and it just went all to the right. Do you remember? Every single play went all to the right. It was so lopsided. It's a miracle how Palmer scored all them goals and got them assists. It was so right heavy. But this is like the different thing was like. You can even play Sancho in the middle if you wanted. Sancho can play in the middle.
I've got the pass map. It kind of vindicates your point.
Yeah, it's like
Sancho used to come off the right wing at Dortmund.
Yes, I've seen him do both. Yeah, wait, but there was
you got on the right there.
Yeah. So, but there was like one last season when it was like it's literally all to the right. Everyone was like on the right. Even the left back started going to the right a bit on one of the games. But it's options now. It's options now. Whether you play Felix in the middle, you know, obviously, whatever. But at least you got someone in the middle. You know, you got Nkuku in the middle. Like you said, if Cole wants to, if they start Cole in the middle, but Nkuku's there, they swap positions, stuff like that. Yeah. Cole Palmer's going out to the right, and Nkuku goes there. Felix goes there. Sancho goes there. Whatever. Neto plays on the right. Palmer's in the middle so far. Or you just say to Palmer, wherever Palmer goes, wherever wing he goes. You go into that position, no matter which way you go. So if he wants to go left, Sancho drops into the middle, or Neto drops into the middle, or something like that. I'm not going to mention the Ukrainian because I don't think he'll ever play for us again. It's like Barrow or something like that. Unless we get an injury crisis, I think he's done. But that's the whole point. It's about having options. The only option that we don't know about is the number 9, or who's Jackson seems like he has to play, but. And we put Nkuku up there. Do you know what I mean? Maybe not as an out 9, but just as a little spearhead. Then it's just different options, isn't it? Last season we didn't have these options. We had Sterling. And by the way, if anyone realised how frustrated we were with Sterling, just watch his cameo yesterday when he tried to cut inside again.
Yep.
I saw the gun.
Flashback to Wolves, innit? Flashback to Wolves.
He didn't shoot.
He go for a sticky, bro.
Oh my god, yeah, but it's just options. It's just options, and like you said, even in the midfield, hope Lavia's back. I don't know if they'll start. I don't think they'll start him, but he might come on. But it's just options at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, the only thing I'm worried about is the right back.
Have you noticed with Maresca that he is very much against Russian players, or at least I've seen so far?
Any logical coach should be.
No, but like. We've seen it in the past with Pochettino and so on, because Lavia, remember the injury that he sustained because he didn't need to play that game anyway. He was rushed back.
Match, yeah,
exactly. But I've noticed that.
Don't you think that's why he kept Vega? Don't you think that's why he kept Vega? Vega can do left back, centre back in emergencies, central midfield. That's why,
exactly.
That's why there's been that emphasis on Swiss Army knife players.
Yeah, that's why he said like Ben Chilwell. I know he's back in the squad, but I just think that's just for like sorrowful pick. But that's why he said like Ben Chilwell's just a left back.
We come from the say. You said Swiss Army knife. I come from the generation of utility man. You remember those guys like John?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
the one. Yeah.
Remember under Mourinho, Jeremy was a utility
Jeremy
man.
Was that guy as well. Utility man.
Jeremy was that guy. He played like 6 games like every year or something like that, and he's utility man.
He done his job. Yeah.
Now it's. I hear it. It's just on the right hand side. We already know probably Gusto's likely to come back with the midfield. Like Vega grew into the game a little bit. I didn't think he was good in the first half. I think he was much better in the second. Caicedo was just Caicedo. Unbelievable. With Lavia and Enzo coming back, what changes do we envision happening? Because I think Enzo's going to come back into the team, and we know like there was a few people saying we needed him for this sort of game. I don't really think that was the case. I don't want to write him off just off the first few matches, but also like if he's going right back into the team, I need to see improvement. I need to see a much better Enzo against West Ham.
Enzo, again, I've been saying this for a very long time. He's an uncomfortable conversation. And I'm sure he is for the management as well. Because, look, you know, yes, he's got the price tag and that pressure. But at some point, there has to be a message to the rest of the squad that being in that first team is a meritocracy. It's not just down to your price tag, and it's not just down to your name. If you are out of form and you are not performing, you need to sit out for the sake of the team, and maybe even for the sake of yourself and your own confidence, to perhaps find a bit better form before you come back in. And I don't think Enzo's really done enough to convince us, you know, that he deserves to come straight into the team. Yeah. Now, Romeo Lavia, that's a completely different conversation. I think, you know, I mean, even before we signed him, I felt that this was going to be a top level signing and someone that could revolutionize our midfield. And we've seen just how important he has been for us in a short space of time. And I think a player like that, you definitely need to accommodate and think about bringing into the first team fold again. Because like you said, in the first half, especially, we struggled massively. That midfield was struggling massively. And I think a player like Romeo Lavia, especially with the ball retention, was shocking. But Lavia, one of his top qualities is that he's very good at retaining the ball. He's very good at bringing stability and calm within that number 6 position and helping out his midfielders. And we've massively missed that. And at times, you know, during games, we get bypassed. It's just like we're a massive donut. We've got nothing in the middle. Or Caicedo is being strained to work and run here, there, and everywhere because his partner isn't mobile enough to be able to get to positions quick enough. So you're putting pressure under Caicedo or other midfielders that are around Enzo. Do you know what I mean? So something's got to be worked out there. For me, Lavia, yes, bring him back in the team because he's shown his importance. Enzo, for me, he hasn't. No, he has to sit out and he's got to pick up some form. He's got to perform.
Yeah, I agree. I also don't think. Can I be honest with you? I don't think Caicedo likes playing with Enzo. Can I tell you why? Because I always think he thinks he doesn't trust him next to him. I always think he thinks he's doing like 2 roles. You know what I mean? I just think he overthinks it, and I think he was more comfortable even for like 60 minutes, 65 minutes with Lavia. I think he was more comfortable beside Lavia than he's ever been with Enzo, or like predominantly over time. I
mean, the pivot did look a lot more like fluid.
It looked like a pivot. That's what it looked like. It's like we're trying to do. It's like when Conte had like Kante and Matic, and everyone was like, "Oh, why can't we play Fabregas?" Well, because Kante and Matic just in this system, you can't have the legs. You can't. Fabregas. I mean, it's not even the same type of player. Enzo's not even 10th for the player that Fabregas is at this moment in time. Do you know what I mean? It's not the same. We just had that assortment of riches there and stuff like that. But I like Guni said, he's got to earn it. My only problem was that you made him captain, or he's part of that leadership group. Or now if Enzo Maresca wanted to fall back, well, he's just part of the leadership group now. Caicedo is my captain until Reece gets back. No problem. And you've got yourself an out. You've got yourself an out right there. But the problem is, my fear is that he made him captain, and he's not going to be able to drop him. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah,
true.
That's my.
The only thing I'm holding on to is that we did drop vice captains before.
Yeah, but my problem is that this whole thing, and my issue in the summer, I would have got rid of him for that video anyway, because he's just a disgrace. You know what I mean? If he was £10 million,
I hear that one.
Instead of £100 million, this guy would be shipped off to a feeder club somewhere, or something like that. We wouldn't have heard of him. But I don't know. Like Guni said, earn it. He's always been put back in. Do you know what I mean? Even when he's rested or suspended or injured, he's always been put back in. And we can't now. All the excuse that everyone gave him last year was, we had that hernia thing and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I've always said Enzo will only work with Chelsea if we play 3 in midfield, not a double pivot.
I agree.
He just doesn't work, and he doesn't work higher. I'm not saying, and he doesn't, not in the 10 either. I'm just saying like an 8 or something. not marauding 8, but just, and then everyone goes, yeah, but you need a playmaker in the middle. I said, why do we need a playmaker in the middle when we've got like Sancho, Palmer, Neto, and Cuckoo if he starts? We don't need Enzo to be a playmaker in this
I
team.
see in the chat they're asking as well, like we had Cucurella playing left 10, Enzo needs to play where Vega was. I feel like we have other options that could have been more effective than Enzo playing in that 10 role, because we've seen it enough times under Maresca and under Poch where he doesn't look comfortable there. He looks comfortable deeper up the pitch. But deeper up the pitch, if Lavia and Caicedo are fit, I'm low-key pushing towards them. They look like a more comfortable pivot.
100%. Especially, well, so like, I don't know if we'll see Lavia against West Ham. It remains to be seen. But when you're coming against physicality like that, it's Lavia Caicedo all day long. And now, if you decide to go forward with that for the rest of the season as the pivot, now you've got a situation where is Enzo really needed if he's not first choice? Because now you've got the two pivot to facilitate for whichever number 10 is in front of them, which brings me on to this next point. João Felix, if he is playing with that pivot behind him, has no excuses. He has absolutely zero excuses not to create and not to be adding to numbers going forward. 100%, whether it's goals, assists, or whatever. He's got no excuse because he ain't got to track back and do the extra work as much when you got those two behind you. He's going to be allowed to be able to be focused on his job. I'm keeping an eye on Felix. Now, one thing I did say with him is it's good for squad depth. Yeah, it is. Because if we ask the question, is he better than the options that we had before he came to the club? Yes. Is he somebody that I personally would have gone and signed? No. Why? Because there are priorities that I would have rather addressed. Goalkeeper and striker being the first two pressing issues. Do you know what I mean? However, there are still expectations I still have of this player. Like and he's got to start performing. Like the last game, I was not impressed. It was an absolute stinker. But I'm willing to chalk that to the game because it's still very early in the season. So I'm keeping a close eye on João Felix, 100%.
Yeah. I think for now that guy's on Conference League tax event. Well, not tax, but he's on the Conference League starting squad for me because both cameos haven't been good enough. You're on cameos until further notice. Obviously, it is still early days and everything like that, but. Nah, that hasn't shown me anything just yet. It's like bit of selfishness, bit of dispossessions here and there. Obviously not enough time, but you just keep it moving. In terms of the pivot, though, like full agreement. It has to be Lavia and Caicedo if the pair of them are fit. For goalkeeper, I wanted to bring up Robert Sanchez because this is like his third good game in a row. I'm starting to think like, you know what, maybe you're slowly starting to make that number one role actually yours. And I'm not really thinking too much about competition. I know it's early days. I'm not trying to give him too much, but we've been so critical on Sanchez. I got to give him his flowers for having a good run.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a very, like I said, he was my man in match Saturday because he saved that penalty. So it was one of those things, and he saved a couple of good shots as well. Oh, Ben Chilwell was back in training with the squad. Just seen Fab tweet that, so that's there. But yeah, he's played very well. Like I said, I think people were trying to criticize him for that Eze goal against Palace. I wasn't going that far with that.
Goal, can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, Saturday's game, he didn't put a foot wrong for me. Maybe it's because he's got like a settled defence in front of him or something like that. In terms of the centre-back partnership and the left-back, the right-back keeps changing every time, but at least we got 3 out of the 4 that are settled. Whether, obviously Fofana played absolute trash on Saturday, which didn't help him. And, there's nothing he could do for that, giving away the penalty. But yeah, he didn't make any. There's still got to be a longer sample size for me. I mean, if we reach like 10 to 15 league games, and he's not had a
clean sheet versus Arsenal.
Yeah, he's not had a bozo moment. I'd be very surprised. But critiquing him on Saturday's game, there's no issue for me whatsoever. So he did well. We did well, but I'm still of the mind that there's better goalkeepers out there. You know what I mean? It's like I said to you in the summer. It was like if the rumors were true or the stories were true that Igbari had Jorge Mendes with him when he was about to sign Neto. His next call shouldn't have been to about João Felix. It should have been about Diogo Costa right there and then. That's what it should have been about. And pay the money now because you weren't going to pay it for Osherman, so you could have paid all that money for a goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? So he still needs stuff.
An important position, maybe not even more, maybe even more.
Top two positions. It's just a foundational position.
Goalkeeper and striker have to be addressed.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, look at a sliding doors moment. If we just actually kicked Porter out in 2018, we're talking about having Alisson in goal for the last 6 years. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is right there. That's a sliding doors moment. It's a blue pill, red pill moment. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is.
Yeah,
we literally divided. We had the deal set up. We divided. What we should have done is pulled Courtois' punk card and just signed Alisson right away. That's what we should have done. 100%. And we're sitting here 6 years later going, man, you know what? We probably would have won things about. I don't know. I think we would have won things about us sitting goal away. Some of our goalkeepers have been, but at least we would have gone.
We wouldn't have Kepa letting 13 penalties go through in a final.
Exactly. Imagine the goalkeeper.
He probably would have saved the Tielemans long shot too.
Yeah, I mean, just one of those things. But goalkeeper, yeah, Sanchez did well. I'm still not in the Sanchez camp. Do you know what I mean? I'll watch from afar, but. You know, I don't give things.
Very much with you on that one, Andrew. Listen, respect to where it deserves to be given, and he had a good game on Saturday. In fact, I would go as far to say the best game I've seen him in a Chelsea shirt. I could actually say that. But look, Andrew's right. There's levels to this. Do you know what I mean? There's having one of good performances, and then there's having consistent runs of great performances, which is something that we need at Chelsea Football Club. And then, like you said, when you look at what's available out there in terms of goalkeeper, there are several goalkeepers ahead of him that I would rather sign than have Sanchez. But listen, long may it continue. I hope 4 or 5 months down the line we come back to this. Somebody's clipped it and said, look at what Guni said about Sanchez and what Andrew said about Sanchez. Now he's a top-level goalkeeper. That's always the aim. Sometimes I'm very critical about players, but trust me, if they turn around and they put in the performances and start delivering, I will be the first to put my hand up and own it, and I'll take all the corn because I'll be happy to take it because it only means it benefits our club. Yeah, only means it benefits our club. So, but yeah, as of now, I'm not entirely convinced. I still think we should be addressing that position.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm completely with you guys. That's just because, like, gotta give him the flowers a little bit. People would be like, oh, you just ignored his man of the match worthy performance. Nah, balled out.
That's what I was saying. I'm not even, when I talk about him, I'm not even talking about him getting to an Alisson level. I think he should aim to get like a Mendy level of that year and a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to see everyone talks about, everyone forgets. Just look at the highlights of us away at Brentford when we won 1-0, when they absolutely battered us the whole entire game. Mendy saving shots that straight at his head. Do you know what I mean? He's saving everything. Just get to that. Try and get to that level. Don't say, oh, he's got to get to Kepa level. That's an insult. Get to a Mendy level. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing you have to do. But then try and sustain it for more than a year and a bit. Do you know what I mean? Just get to that level. Well, we'll see.
2021 Mendy, God willing. Yeah. Big up to TM saying, I fancy Neto at right wing facing against Emerson. I think you're going to see Neto play on the left again because I've seen Sancho wasn't involved in training. Not anything that deep. It's him building towards full fitness, which just sounds like he's going to be off the bench again next game. And I don't even mind that. I think him against tired legs will be perfect. God forbid if we're in a position where we're not winning by halftime, you'll expect that they're going to be more defensive going into the second half. Sancho might be able to help us off the bench anyway. But in terms of Neto at left wing, like, I feel like he's just been a victim of our right side play, if anything. I've not even really been annoyed about his performances or worried or anything like that. He just hasn't had a lot of touches. I remember against Wolves, he had 20 touches of the ball before being subbed.
Yeah,
and then Wolves, not Palace, Bournemouth. You see, we're playing mostly on the right too.
Yeah. So I think it's a problem with the double touchline winger. I don't think it helps Neto or Madueke when either of them are starting. not when if they come on and we're 3 or 4 up or something, I have no problem with that. But actually starting and trying to eke out that first goal, I just don't think it works in this day and age. I think it's an antiquated. It's not a Premier League style to have like 2 like out and out wingers like that. It's just
not unless you're playing pure transitional football.
Yeah, City might do it, but it's occasionally with Savio and Doku. But yeah, that's the. And also, like I said, I keep harping back to. There was no one in the middle apart from Jackson. Do you know what I mean? To facilitate the ball to him, or to run on. He couldn't make any runs or anything like that because he always had to pass it backwards to Cucurella. And Cucurella wasn't underlapping, so it was just the point of he had a really frustrating time. I would have liked to actually seen what if he tried to move to the right, because I've seen him play on the right before, something like that. If we're going to bring Sancho on, because I just thought maybe Madueke but he might have had the same problem with Palmer over there. Do you know what I mean? In terms of Palmer's over there, he's getting the ball, Madueke's not doing anything, and we just.
I feel like you need just one of either to get a better balance, because you can have one that at least retains the ball a little bit more, takes it to feet, and then you use the other side as an outlet. Like, let's say if Neto was your touchline winger and then you got Cole Palmer on the right-hand side, for example. Yeah. Or if you got Noni on the right and potentially Sancho on the left.
Yeah.
I think that might be kind of works.
Yeah, it's a mix and match job. That's what it was. It's just one of those things. That's for Maresca to figure out. It will work against certain teams. So when they're open like that, like Wolves second half, 2 touchline wingers will work because whoever's in the middle will have all that room to move about. But in closer games, like against Bournemouth, against Palace, it was frustrating. So but he's got to build up his minutes as well.
Neto v Noni thing.
No, it's not even a Neto versus Noni thing, really. It shouldn't be.
No. In terms of they're both similar, a bit more similar in terms of their profile. It's just Neto can play both wings.
Yeah, Neto can play both wings. I think he's more creative. That's why I said Madueke. I wouldn't even ask him to be that creative. I'd just tell him to score goals. Just be a goal scorer and wide player.
Just keep doing your thing in terms of becoming 2-footed a bit more, because we've noticed he's using the right a bit more, and that's part of the reason why he's got even better.
That's why I said Saturday I would have told him to just go on. If Palmer's there on the right, just bomb on a bit more. Be a second attacker essentially. Up there with Jackson. Just try and do that. See if that works.
Oh, by the way, I know we said it once already. This is such a good selection, Headache. I'm glad we're finally getting to this point with our squad.
Exactly. No Sterling, no Mudryk, no Kai. No.
Oh, don't even fucking remind me. I don't know if you saw the debate that we were having on fucking Back Again earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to do Havertz over Jackson still.
I saw the prop. It's all good, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Shout out to African Giant saying 3 games and he's not made a passing error. Sanchez, eyes.
I know.
Just observing. Just observing.
Yeah.
All you got to do is keep the form up and shit. You know what? Maybe Ben Roberts, we do owe you a little bit of an apology. Maybe. Speaking of another player who's turned the corner a little bit, Levi Colwill. He's starting to look very, very confident now he's been put back into left centre back. The last 2 games have been a really good positive from him.
You want to take that one, Guni? Or... Oh, I'll take it. Okay. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think, Mal, imagine all last season we've proven right that he's not a left back, even though England tried to play him as a left back for one of the games against Ireland. It's like he must have had PTSD because he probably dropped out of the second game saying, I'm not going to play left back again. But imagine playing a centre back at left back. Like I said, I think from the Wolves game onwards, I think he's very solid in terms of his defending, his passing. I mean, even on Saturday, he created that chance for Jackson in the first half when he was he took the ball and he dribbled a bit
in the second half.
Yes, he took that. So yeah, he's working on it. I know Fofana didn't play that well. I think having a stable partnership also helps as well, and even having Cucurella there as the first choice left back and everything like that also will help. Last 2 seasons, we haven't had a recognised defence in terms of everyone playing multiple games in a row. I mean, what is it? Them 3 have played every game now in a row, every game this season in the league.
Yeah, every league match.
And Sanchez, and it starts building. Obviously, there's still more to do. Like I said, Fofana needs to improve with his passing, stuff like that. But it's been good. I know people are questioning, rightfully so, but decision making looks a bit better. Like I say, he's making good blocks here and there. His passing is better. His choice of passing is also good as well. So it's looking good. But like I say, it's just let's build game by game, because against West Ham that will be a test against West Ham for this defense. That's for sure.
Not gonna. I mean, yeah, Colwell's form's good. It's definitely been good, and I'll say this as well. If I was Colwell, I would have put João Felix through a locker, 100%, because that ball that he played for him deserved to finish, 100%. That was a beautiful ball, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Don't know what Felix was doing there, but hey, we move. But no, I've been impressed with him in terms of, because it was really from one main aspect that I've wanted him to improve, and that's just purely his defending. That was it. Now I know he's had to play left back. Me personally, I just feel you're wasting him out there. But centrally, you can see his positioning's getting better. His last minute tackles are getting a lot better. Another thing that I like to see from him is that he's got a good bit of aggression. He's got a bit of a shit house streak to him as well. Something that I like to see in my defenders. That's just a personal preference. But yeah, man, I've been impressed. I've been impressed with what I've seen. I will not get carried away. The same rule applies to every single one of the players in this 11 that have yet to prove themselves outside of Cole Palmer and maybe one other or two others. But I need to wait. I need to see consistency. I'm not going to start jumping to conclusions and final decisions just now. I'm patient. I'm going to analyze as the season goes on. But again, hope the trajectory continues the way it's going. I hope the form stays, because he's been brilliant. He's been really good.
Yeah, I'm also hoping that we don't necessarily have to break it up if, let's say, Gusto isn't back fit for the West Ham game. Because I did notice we were better when Tosin came on and we put Fofana on the right-hand side. And as much as I wouldn't mind seeing that over Disasi playing right back, I also just don't want to break up that back two. So I don't know, which one would you rather give if we had to go to? Would you rather Disasi right back one more time, or just fuck it off for one game? Put Fofana on the right-hand side and just pray to God?
Honestly, I'd rather pick option C, which is just play a champon. I'd rather just do that, to be completely honest. And from what I've seen,
that was the case,
and the thing is he's not a bad player from the little I've seen. Actually, to be fair, I don't have the best,
it was just the Tottenham cameo, but he was very good. Yeah,
I mean, and even outside of that, I've had glimpses of youth performances here and there, but that's not really the best indication. But he looks good, but the only way you're gonna know is it's a sink or swim situation, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean,
there's no wrong answer in this situation, because it's an unknown element, isn't it?
That's my many gripes with Poch last season was that he should have started prepping him as soon as Reece James was ruled out for like the rest of the season or something like that. And I'm hoping like Enzo's done that as well. I know he's included in first team training and stuff like that, obviously. But yeah, I'd start prepping. I know there's pictures of Gusto in training and something like that. Or I don't know if he'll be good to go. He's missed like the last 3 weeks, obviously, with international break and something like that. But no to Disasi. No, not at right back, bro. It's just there's no instinct at right back for him whatsoever. We saw it on Saturday when that in the first half of that, he thought Fofana would be right beside him, and there was a huge gap between Disasi and Fofana in the first half. Yeah. He just doesn't have the instinct for it. His passing's okay, but he's too slow at right back. Do you know what I mean? It's just, imagine Kudus up against Disasi.
Oh, you smoke it.
Do you know what I mean? What are we doing here? Do you know what I mean?
It's like, he plays on the left. Fuck.
That's what I mean. Even if he didn't play on the left, they tend to play on the left to go against Disasi. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those.
Is Jared Bowen back?
I don't know. Did he?
Yes.
It should be, right?
Yeah, he played in international duty, I think.
Yeah, but under no circumstances, Disasi cannot play at fullback.
I have to get Somerville on the bench.
You can't do that. You can't have if Kudus and him are on the pitch. You can't do that. There's no way.
Can't do it, bro. So either Gusto probably plays. You could even do this. I'd even be more happy with switching Cucurella at right back and playing Vega at left back. Do you know what I mean? I'd take that over Disasi. I'm sorry. I'll play Vega at right back. Play Vega right back. I don't, you know, I hear that. Sorry, Disassi, man. You know, not at the right back. It's just it's not the same. It's not like when we moved William Gallas to left back. It's not the same. Do you know what I mean? It's just not. You know, Gallas could do that role at left back. Do you know what I mean? It's just not happening. You know, it's just
he would have been a bit more mobile anyway. Shout out to Sarcasm City, home away from home. Big up for the raid, my guys. Sticking on right back as well. I wanted to have a little conversation about our guy Reece James, because I've seen that Enzo, Dewsbury Hall, Gusto, Lavia, that they were all back in training. We were told Reece James only had a minor knock and he'd be back after the suspension. That suspension's passed. The Bournemouth game's passed. He's still not back. He's still not back. How are we feeling? I've said I want to give him the season and just hope he comes back and this is his last injury. But I mean, we were only told a few games.
Do you remember Guni said about 20 minutes ago he liked how what was it? I can't remember who said, but they liked how Enzo was not rushing players back. Yeah. I think that's the ultimate thing with Reece. It's like,
I hope so.
It's like they need him to be perfect. Do you know what I mean? It's like pristine. It's like perfect, and you wrap him up in bubble wrap or you freeze him. Do you know what I mean? Cryogenically or something for the next game. That's what you do. He has to be perfect. Do you know what I mean? He takes the hamstring surgery. His first injury is a hamstring. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. It's like the Kante thing. You know what I mean? It's like, I remember they played Kante right away after his surgery, and then he was out for the rest of the season, and he didn't get a send off and he left. This guy you have to be perfect with, and there's no point rushing him back unless I don't care if it's not even his decision. I don't care if he thinks he's ready to go. It's the medical staff. It's Enzo Maresca. Are you ready to go? If you are, then we're building you up. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. You build up. He doesn't get into the team right away. You just don't. He has to be perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you have to really start then thinking of, is his future at right back? Do you know what I mean? Is it like,
can we thinking maybe you'd have to push him centrally if that's the case?
Maybe. I think I think he's more built for centre back than he is right back. Do you know what I mean? Saying this though, if we got people on the right wing, we're not asking to bomb up and down the wing a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's just a weird. It's like you said. I think they're just being so cautious with him because he's literally had 2.5 years of injuries. Do you know what I mean? It's just they've just been nearly 3 years of injuries. They've been so cautious with this guy.
I think that's the case as well. I think it's more of a precaution. I think James is. I think if you're asking me, my suspicion is he'll probably be able to sit on the bench this weekend, but I think they're just going to choose not to do it. That's what I think is going to happen, because just based on the evidence I've seen how Maresca's treated other players, I think this is the same rule that applies with Reece James. And you know, if he's going to keep him fitter, then by all means. But then if Reece comes back and he sustains another injury, another setback, and so on and so forth, I mean, I love Reece, and I think on his day he's the best right back in the world for me. Well, on his day he's unplayable, but it's just how often are we going to see that? That's the problem. It's like if
he's got to take the wages into account too.
And yeah, there's that, and then on top of that, you've also got to look at we're not a team anymore that's in a position to accommodate a player like that. We're not a team that's got a system that's relentless, going out there winning games, and we can perhaps afford to, you know, keep trying with the player. We don't have that. We don't have that luxury. We're now a team that's, you know, fighting for top four and not for titles anymore. So we need everybody to be on top of their game. Everybody in the squad counts. So we can't really have any passengers, unfortunately. I'd hate to see him go. I really, really would. I would. But then if you're not getting even 15 games a season out of Reece James or whatever, then you got to start asking questions, especially if a good offer comes in. You know, if Real Madrid still see value in the player and they say, listen, man, his 80, 90 million with the injury record that he has, are you going to blame Chelsea for taking it? You're not necessarily. You're going to understand why. It's too good to turn down. You can't. But if he was
I
fit,
mean,
if he was fit, I wouldn't be entertaining this conversation at all. But he's just not fit.
when we think about it, like, actually, if he was to have an injury-prone season, I'm not sure for how much we'd want for him, how many offers we would get as well. Because I'm looking at Real Madrid. Like, they could do that. But I mean, Trent's also running down his contract. He's got a year left. That could be done. They go and get him on a free. They don't even have to worry about negotiating or anything like that.
That's true.
But then who else is there?
With his injury record, I think you'd be lucky to scratch 40, 50 for him if he goes down.
Yeah, you'd be very lucky. Yeah, you'd be very, very lucky.
I think you'd be very lucky to get that. I think you would.
I'm sure we don't ask for that too.
If I'm Maresca, I get Reece James back, but I don't even play him in back-to-back games. Do you know what I mean? Or if I do, it's very limited minutes. So, say, for example, he was fit for this weekend. He'd be on the bench. He'd get the last 10, 15 minutes or something, right? The midweek against Barrow, he wouldn't start that. He'd just build up his minutes again and again. He doesn't start until he's come through multiple games. You know what I mean? Minutes here and there. He's just build up his minutes and something like that. And even when you do start him, say if we're winning by a lot, take him off at half time. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. Just to build up because his body is fragile. Do you know what I mean? In terms of muscle and something like that, it's weak at this moment in time. He's built like Tarzan, but he plays like Jane. Do you know what I mean? He's like that. Do you know? It's just.
And the confidence in his own body is going to be.
But his body's not. The problem is, I think he's built his body the wrong way. Do you know what I mean? For a right back, I think he's very top heavy.
I really tried to ignore that take for years, but the more time passes, the more I think, fuck, maybe. Look at him when he was in 1920, right? He looks so much slimmer.
Right. But look at the right backs we know. Trent. Look at Rico Lewis at this moment in time. Yeah. Look at even Carvajal. Even even like a Livramento at Newcastle. They're not built like Reece. They're skinnier. They might be tall, but they're skinny. Do you know what I mean? They're not what they should be. Even Ben White, he's just built. Even Ben White's built different. Do you know what I mean? Pedro Porro is not like that. You know what I mean? He's just built. They're all like skinnier. They're not built like a tank, like Reece is. I remember this is a guy Reece when he played like right back. He shouldered some Brighton player and busted his nose open, and they were just like when they just jumping for the same ball. You know what I mean? He's just I think they're literally wrapping up in cotton wool. They're just like, I think there's a guy monitoring him like probably 24/7. Do you know what I mean? Every step he takes, you know what I mean? It's like someone's there. Don't step on that. Don't go up them stairs.
The most delicate load.
We'll get that for you. We'll get that for you. Where are you going? I'm just going across. No, you don't need to go across the road. You
don't have to stretch your hammies yet. You're not running. You're just walking.
Yeah, exactly. Don't run. Don't run. You don't need to run for anything anymore. You're a footballer. You don't need to run for anything out of the football pitch or the training pitch. It's all good. It's all good. You got your slip-on shoes in the shower. It's all good. It's like that.
I really hope this brother turns things around this season because it feels like such a sad fall from grace from him, and it's not even his fault.
I hope so, man. This could be a modern day Ledley King situation. Unfortunately, I really hope not, but we'll be robbed of an absolute elite player if that's the case.
He's a one player from Cobham where you can literally say he has world-class generational potential. You know what I mean? There's no one else that's come from Cobham like him since
Musiala. But that's
Musiala, we didn't get to unfortunately we didn't. But I mean that's actually come through into the first team. He's the first player since JT where you go world-class generational talent like that. That's Reece James for you. That's why you can't. Unfortunately, injuries. We can't even have the Trent Reece James arguments anymore. We just can't. He's not there.
I hate even.
No, but you know what I mean. It's like we don't even know. Reece is like the last nearly 3 years. Reece has been on the sidelines basically.
Yes.
We can't even have those battles. You know what I mean? We can't even put him in there.
Do you know? Just seeing or hearing the name Jamal Musiala just breaks my heart. I hate it. I hate to see this guy in anything other than a Chelsea shirt. It's killer. It's so
Hey,
hard.
maybe if we get back into the top 4, you never know. Some
Hey,
random
he's gonna-
opportunity
he's
arising.
going-
Right now,
going to
Manchester City are
He's going to
pushing.
City, bro. Yeah, he's going to be Bernardo
Yeah,
Silva.
you had City links, didn't you? Yes, fucked.
Yeah, Bernardo Silva's going. He's going to be Bernardo Silva replacement.
And then on top of that, like we're gonna look at his position at our club. Like we're just stacked. You know what I mean?
exactly.
But we're
We've got
gonna have to
Esteban
get rid
Baez.
of several players.
But that ain't stopped us before. Like we just decided to forget about Mudryk now because we just bought like how many other wingers.
Yeah.
And that
The
brother
only
was
thing-
62 million. Like we can't forget that. And now it's just who? What's
The
a
only thing
Mudryk?
that
I
makes
forgot
sense- the
about
only-
it.
the only thing about makes sense about signing Musiala is if you get rid of a João Felix or Nkuku.
I would.
Then-
I
That's
still
fine. You can sell João Felix every day. I don't.
I would either one of them. I don't care
Yeah.
if they said we're getting rid of one of those two for I don't care who it is. Pack your bags, go, bring back Musiala straight.
I bet you we inquire. There'll be a report that we've inquired. Like, so
Oh, we're
there'll
not gonna go down without a fight. 100%. We will
even
be
without,
involved.
without guaranteed of Champions League football. We'll still go in there. We'll still go in there.
We'll get linked with him anyway. We get linked to everybody.
because he's a former Cobham grad. Of course, we'll get linked.
But you know what? You know what's funny? I'm gonna bring something up. If Todd Bowley was steering the ship, Musiala would be a Chelsea player, 1000%. That guy would not take no for an answer.
Yeah,
How
he
much
wants
is
it.
City offering you? Yeah, we'll clear that by 60, 70k a week. Let's see if they
Lewis,
return.
this guy wanted Ronaldo. He wanted Ronaldo up front. This
Yeah,
guy
it
was
was
like,
him.
going up
Tuchel
Ronaldo.
said no.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I
yeah.
mean.
He was up for it.
Bowley
Ronaldo would have signed. Ronaldo was going to go to City
Oh, yeah.
before United stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But he didn't care. Not, I'm
We
loyal
didn't
to
have
Man
anyone in Europe that wanted him with a barge
Yeah.
pole.
Exactly. It's just one of those things, you know. Well, we're like I said, if it's a Barley in charge, I don't see the point of going for Musiala because you're not going to offer him the wages, are you? So
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you can be like negotiating for 3 months, something like that, right down to the end of the transfer window.
They say he wanted Neymar too.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did. He did want Neymar, but remember, it's
And
the
what
same
was it?
guy that
Clear Lake
signed.
saying they wanted to prioritize Mudryk.
Just remember, he did sign Sterling, Koulibaly, and he signed Carney Chukwuemeka to over 100 grand a week as well. So you know, it's like
His philosophy is almost the diametric opposite of Clear Lake, which makes me ask the question: how did they even agree to get into business in the first place? Did they even have a discussion about vision? Because they just
No,
they
because it was
could not
all rushed.
no, yeah, exactly. They didn't get the
Like,
proper.
you gotta remember the sanctions forced through everything. So it's Todd
Yeah.
Bowley who wanted Chelsea, and then he just rushed a consortium.
yeah.
That's why now he's trying to buy out Clear Lake with another consortium.
So basically, it was like, all right, let's get the club and we'll have a conversation afterwards.
Yeah.
Basically, that's why like we bought them and there was no sporting directors, so it was just
So
Tuchel,
it's just-
Bowley,
so it's just
and that
like-
Josh McClacken brother.
We own Chelsea now. What do we do now? They're just twiddling thumbs around the table. Oh, this just gets worse the more you think about it.
Trust, bro. Like that's the whole problem with the sanctions, and then you lost AC and Rudiger on a free, and then you have the rest of the contracts and the whole squad needing rebuilding. Then just out of nowhere, they just decided to sack Tuchel.
Facts.
I know.
Blues Empire, bro. Listen, I
Oh,
don't
there
want
we
to
go.
see this guy. I don't want to see this guy's
Said
name.
Fraser Fletcher, bruv.
Now Fraser's my guy. Big up Fraser. But yeah, you see that transfer saga next summer is gonna kill me. It's gonna absolutely kill me, that transfer saga. If we sign this guy, I'm gonna be delirious. I swear I will be.
Next summer, though, you know, we should. I know it's a long way away, but we should realistically. Well, if we avoid a transfer ban for the things about the Roman stuff in the past or something, we should only be focusing on 1 or 2 signings, really. Do you know what I mean? And they should be top level signings, like Guni said for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
You're
if you're going to get
a
the young,
striker and don't know.
well, it
about
depends how the
that.
goalkeeper works out as well. If he
I
makes
have a feeling that we do end up getting a goalkeeper down the line. I don't know, but I just think that we will.
Basically,
I feel
got to be good with passing, though. You know.
See, if he's a good goalkeeper, I won't even be
Marmoush was
against
there
it.
for
But the
30
fact
million.
that we're going to have 11 on the books is just.
Marmoush was there for 30 million, bro. 30 million
Yeah,
was there. For,
piss take with
oh
it.
no, he can't pass. We'll teach him. Teach him the pass then. That's what I'm saying. Teach him. I don't care.
It will be. I think it will be either Marcin Bulka or it will be Diogo Costa. One of those two.
I do like. I've been watching Bulka. Well, he's obviously.
We should have never let him go in the first place. Do you remember the pre-season he had before we let him go? Absolutely
sorry
phenomenal. Yeah, bro, he was unplayable. I couldn't believe, like, you see, when we knew Courtois was leaving, I was saying we don't need to sign another goalkeeper. Just give this kid a chance. And then we spent 72 million on this joke man, Kepa.
Yeah,
Chelsea.
And he's, did you play for? Is it FC Nantes? Is it Nantes he plays for?
Yeah, Nice. Yeah, he's at Nice.
Sorry, Nice. Yeah, he was a goal. Wasn't he just like goalkeeper of the year in France this past season? When no one's watching that league now, seeing a TV deal, but. That's unfortunate. Yeah, he's definitely on the radar. I was very surprised by that. But like you said, apparently they're very well. Everyone when they hire super kid, they think that Penders one's. I think they're trying to find the next Courtois in the Penders guy that we just signed. But
yeah, it's meant to be baby Courtois.
He's meant to be that guy. Yeah.
I mean, he's like what? He's like 8'9" or something. He's very tall, isn't he? Something like that.
Didn't De Bruyne used to play for his club?
Genk.
Yeah, he's played for Genk, yeah.
I remember him missing a penalty against us in the UCL once. But like in terms of the whole Bowley and Igbali thing as well, like this is why I find it hard to pick a side with this whole supposed civil war and all of that. Because really and truly, these men should just be meeting in the middle anyway. And I felt like this window kind of was a little example of that. Because you did see us go for some experienced heads, obviously like not the type that we were looking for, like a Dewsbury Hall and all of that. But there was some experience, some youth. And that's the way it should be working. It should be a little bit of both. This whole idea of us just going for even names has been shown that it can work, but it's not necessarily the most sustainable option. The youth option's great, but you need a bit of experience in the middle of that too. So it should be a bit of one or the other.
Yeah, or it's like Guni says for like 2 years. It's like the age don't matter. It's like the quality. Do you know what I mean? No one's talking about Palmer that we signed who's 22. It's this quality that shines out. If every report, because you've got to take with the Brazil when they rate their players with a pinch of salt sometimes, because then the next, whoever. Do you know what I mean? If they really think that this Esteval guy is it, do you know what I mean? Then he can go in the team as quickly as possible. It's all about whether they're good enough. No one's going to complain if we sign Michael Elise. He's 21.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? He's 21.
I also understood the wage structure issue with that one too.
No, I'm talking about the age. I'm just talking about the age and stuff like that. Do you know, no one complains about the age. No one says about the age when the player does well. Do you know what I mean? I say Mudryk. I talk about Mudryk's age because he's rubbish and he's 24. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's rubbish at 24.
He's 24 now.
24. He's going to be 24 this season, I think. So, you know what I mean? People mention Sterling's age because of the way he's just gone off a cliff. Do you know what I mean? And people go, "What? He's only 29." Do you know what I mean? It's just stuff. It's just stuff like that. If Sancho does Sancho does well this season, no one will ever mention his age. And he's only like 22.
No one mentions Erling Haaland's age.
No one mentions Erling Haaland's name whatsoever. No one mentions Anthony Gordon's age. Or by the way, the same people that are bigging up Duran now were the same people that didn't want Anthony Gordon a few years ago. Do you remember?
Yeah,
I put my hands
up about.
No, I had the sort of the same.
When we were linked with him, I was not keen. But then a couple of weeks ago, I saw a few things that made me say, you know what? Actually, this kid could be a striker. I'm not at a point where I'm saying let's go out there and sign him. I'm at a point where I'm saying keep an eye on him and let's see how he does. Yeah, exactly.
I think if he continues to have a season like he's having, I think they keep him and they get rid of Watkins personally. Well, if the right offer comes in, because that brother's like what 28, 29. Like if you're thinking about it, it might be just the right time to cash out and max out with him if you're going to just build on Duran.
Maybe.
So I think that ship sailed personally.
Probably will.
Shout out to Abdias as well, saying what are we saying for Todd's bid? Amanda plus, I think that's the Saudi flag. Look, I'll be so real. I just don't want this whole civil war thing, and it's been overhyped to death anyway. I just don't want it impacting the first team. I don't think it will either because it's been overinflated so much by the media. It's just both sides considering buying each other out.
It makes me laugh. Like Todd bought this cover of the consortium, but he's still like looking. He's still. But I hope he signs like some type of contract that says, "I'm in charge. You guys are just in the background. You just sign checks." You know what I mean? I'm running this space.
He's only got 13.8%.
Otherwise, what would we be in this position like in 2 years' time if they fall out again? And it's going to be Todd with another consortium. He keeps coming in. He's got like.
That's how you know we're a fucking circus if that happens, bro.
Todd, did you know?
I'm just flipping between owners now instead of managers.
Or at least, Todd, do these guys agree with your ideas before you jump into bed with them financially? Do you know what I mean? Do they agree with your ideas? Do you know what I mean?
At the end of it, all of this is the government's fault. That's just it.
Yeah. But it is what it is now. Do you know what I mean? But it's like it's just the irony, you know. You came here for a consortium, and now he's looking for backers to buy out the rest of the consortium with another consortium's money. It's just. Well, that's how they say it. It must be some type of genius because that's the way he stays billionaires. You know what I mean?
Either that or he's like it's very easy to get along with him. He's one of them guys.
Oh yeah, I'm not. This is the whole thing. It's like when everyone's Bowley's running you guys in a mess. It's like he's not been running it for like a year. Do you know what I mean? Barley's the one.
He's not even the fucking majority shareholder.
Exactly. Bowley Sharona. It's just the face, dude. He's just the face. You know what I mean? It's Barley you want to talk about. He's the one. I did. If that thing was true last week, I do like when they were doing the both sides. And like you said, your team Bowley or team. If your team Bowley or team Meg Barley, please remember, everyone has to sign off on everything. They're both culpable for. Both sides are culpable for where Chelsea are, whether you think you like the decisions or not. But I did like when Pies tweeted out like Bowley's side. He likes one person running the club, which I've always liked. I don't like these two sporting I don't like the idea of two sporting directors. It just don't make sense, especially if they're not reporting to a CEO. And I don't like that they have to report to Barley. He shouldn't be involved in transfer dealings like this. Sheikh Mansour is not heard about in City transfer dealings. Do you know what I mean? Like
I just don't like the consortium thing in general.
But that was cooks in the kitchen for me. Mm-hmm. That's the thing now. There's no out and out billionaires going to spend all their money on just one club like that. You know, out there. So it's going to be.
But guys, it has been a really good discussion as well. It's been great to have both of you on the channel. I appreciate you guys giving up your time as always. I want to big up the chat as well. Big up to every single one of you. I'm going to be back in about 30 minutes, but it's going to be on A-listers. I'm going to send everybody over there.
Cooking a Sam.
I can't wait, man. He's already tried the deflection tactics by saying, you won't cook Spurs. You don't cook anybody. You're asking me to cook Spurs.
Cook Spurs. That's like breathing.
Bread and butter, bro. Cool. Yeah. So everybody head over to A-listers.
Lewis and I once spent 2 hours on Sarcasm City Q&A cooking Spurs. We just ripped them apart for no reason. We just enjoyed doing it. We spent 2 hours ripping them, and then someone said Arsenal. And then we just ripped Arsenal for another hour. You know what I mean? We can do that. We can rip Spurs if you want us to. No problem. But
trust, just give me uninterrupted time on Tottenham and I'm good, man. That's it.
Exactly.
But yeah, everybody head over there. I want everybody to spam slot out in the comment section as soon as you guys get in there. And I'll see you guys in half an hour. Big up to everybody. It's been great as always. Take care and up the Chelsea.
Peace.